Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's a video for the first time this season. We are here to preview a Rangers game following a loss, and despite how crap and terrible and gutting as Wednesday night was, it's time to treat that game the same way as we treat every positive game we've had this season, by putting it in the rear view, moving on for it and focusing in on what matters most, which is of course the next game. And you know what, there's going to be no YouTube shenanigans or anything like that at the start of today's video. I just want to jump right into the video because there is so much to break down and so much to discuss, so let's get on with the video then, shall we? And as always, we will start off with the old oppositional preview because, as fate would have it, we face a Motherwell side who also lost to St Mirren in their most recent game. But where our loss came out the blue and was a massive shock to Scottish football, the same cannot be said for the Motherwell loss to St Mirren, and that's despite the fact that they are currently sitting 5th in the league, which, if you take a step back and you look at it, Motherwell 5th in the league around this point of the season isn't exactly terrible. However, you have to go deeper and you need to scratch beyond the surface to find out what Motherwell are really all about this season and how it's gone for them, because one of the major contributing reasons why they are sitting 5th in the league right now at this point of the season is because they were handed 6 points in the same day as the SFA ruled and gave them 2 forfeited victories. And because of those 6 points that they were handed on the same day, that actually moved Motherwell from near the bottom of the table all the way up to the cushy 5th spot they currently reside as they travel to Ibrox to play against Rangers the Mora. But to be fair to Motherwell, of course they had played 2 less games because the other clubs having to postpone the fixtures and everything like that. But if you look at how they've been playing for the majority of the season, I don't think even the most optimistic Motherwell fan would have expected to get 6 points for Kilmarnock and St Mirren. But again, as we've already mentioned a couple of times in today's video, they did get those 6 points and that helped them move all the way up to the league. But even that isn't that impressive when you actually realise the fact that Motherwell in 5th is actually closer point-wise to the team last in the SPFL than they are point-wise to the team sitting one place above them in the league in 4th spot, which is Aberdeen. And by the way, Aberdeen's actually played 1 less game, which to me really shows the difference in quality and consistency that the teams in the top 4 of Scottish football have this season compared to the rest of the league, because the top 4 is literally leaving them all in the dust, and that's including Motherwell. And that right there still surprises me, even though the words are flying out my mouth, because when you look at this Motherwell side, they've still got quality players, they've still got players that can hurt you, and they've got players that's been proven in this league to be very, very effective. I mean, this is a squad, even though the league was called early, but they were still in the 3rd and 4th spot battle, and they managed to finish 3rd, and they went ahead and got European football this season. So they aren't a bad side, but they are really, really struggling to put consistency out there on the park this season. And some people might look at it and say, it could be the fact that David Turnbull isn't there anymore. But for me, that's not really the case, because Turnbull was missing all season long last year. And if we're being honest, Motherwell was one of the trickiest games to have last year, and that was without Turnbull, who was out injured. I don't know, I'm looking at this Motherwell side and I broke it down a lot, and I've watched so much of them for today's preview over the last couple of days. If I'm honest with you, it gave me a welcome distraction for Wednesday. But I just keep looking at this side and saying there's really a balance issue with this squad. And the reason I actually say that is because numerous times this season Motherwell have went out there and had a good performance, been effective in front of goal, won a big game or win an important game, and every person around Scottish football looks at it and says, right, that is the turning point for them, they'll then go on and day things. But every time they have that performance and have that big win, they end up following it up with a winless run, exactly the same as they're on right now as they travel to Ibrox, because they're actually winless in the last 5 games, and during that run, by the way, only one of them was not a loss. That's right, they've lost 4 of the last 5 games. The only non-loss was a 1-1 draw with St Johnstone. And you know, son, I didn't think I can summarise this Motherwell team or their season so far any better than simply saying, in league football this season they have scored 21 goals, but they've conceded 22. They're sitting with a minus goal difference, and it's almost like 1 step forward, 2 step back for them And that's their season so far. Which I think if you take all of that, you pop it in a bowl and you sprinkle in the fact that we spanked them 5-1 at Fir Park, it certainly makes for very, very encouraging hearing from the Rangers' perspective, because it's certainly encouraging for me to say. However, I'm not expecting an easy game from Motherwell. They'll come here, they'll look to try and make it as difficult as possible, and unfortunately they are coming to Ibrox boosted based on what happened on Wednesday. They've got belief now coming into this game because their manager has literally said this: people, Rangers aren't invincible. That was proved on Wednesday. So it certainly appears that Motherwell are coming into this game full of confidence and belief to try and make this a nippy bum time grey hair turner, as we call it here on the actual channel. And if I'm honest, that's just kind of done and dusted with the Motherwell preview. They're a big physical side that can shut up shop, and they do have individual quality and especially threat from set pieces, which is always dangerous in these types of games. But thankfully, it's not down to Motherwell to dictate what type of game this is going to be. The more we're coming into this game versus Motherwell after a truly awful second half, and the result was even worse than awful, by the way. But at the same time, one loss doesn't define our season. The response to the loss will help define our season, and that's exactly how I'm looking and going in to this game. Now, I've seen some opinions down there in the comments section below and on social media calling the players this and calling the manager that, but for me, this group of players this season has gave me positive result after positive result. It gave me performances that I sat back and went, I'm so damn proud of pretty much every 3 days since August. So I'm not going to be sitting here turning my back on these players because they lost one game to a 93rd minute winner. That's no for me. That I think this team has earned the right this season for what they have gave for us to have their backs when one game goes wrong. And that's exactly where I sit. Now, if you feel differently, by the way, I'm not coming after you and saying that my opinion's right and your opinion's wrong. That's never, ever what this channel has been like. One opinion's no more important than the other. We're a community here, and we get on sometimes, we didn't get on sometimes, but it's me and thee, and that's why it actually works. But there's one thing I think we can all agree on going in to this game. The reaction from these Rangers players from the first whistle to the last Demora is absolutely vital. Now, so far this season we've had a couple of blips: the draw versus Livingston, the draw versus Hibs, and the back-to-back draws versus Benfica when we were actually in a winning position with 15 minutes to go. But every single time those blips happened, we channeled it in the right way and we went on a fantastic run. Now, I'm not sitting here saying Wednesday was a blip, because to me it's a lot bigger than a blip, but it's gone now, it's done, it's dusted. There is no point pondering and thinking what ifs and maybes. All we can do and all we can hope for is these group of players and the management use that loss in the right way and channel it in the right direction to go ahead and go on another run, because the next month of fixtures is absolutely massive. We've just had our balls twanged. Now it's time to go out there and take it out on people. But aye, that's me kind of done and dusty with the old Rangers conversation aspect of today's video. Now it's time to transition into some important team news, because we got one major plus, and that's the fact that Commander Helander is back and he should be in the starting 11, which means if you follow this channel for a long time, I'm going to be a very happy guy, because that right there, Goldson and Helander, is the centre-back partnership for me. Yes, he's a fantastic player, and he is, and he's going to have an important part in our season. But if you followed this channel for any amounts of time, it's Helander and Goldie for me. But with the positivity of Helander coming back, there is a wee bit of negativity, because unfortunately Big Leon Balogun is obviously officially ruled out of the game because he suffered that knock versus St Mirren where he looked like he got dazed. Now, I don't know what the extent of the injury is, I don't know if it's a concussion or anything like that, but it doesn't look good, and hopefully the big man's back very soon and doing what he does best. But with Balogun officially ruled out, I think it tells you the exact defence that we are going to have tomorrow. It's going to be McGregor, it's going to be Tav, it's going to be Goldson, it's going to be Helander, and it's going to be Barisic. And your man Bassi, who some people were saying I would love to see him get involved because he had a previous good game versus Motherwell to get his confidence back. I think that's been officially took off the table, people, because Bassi will now be the backup centre-back, or the emergency backup centre-back now. The fact that Balogun and Katic is obviously ruled out. But that defence right there is the absolute peak for me at Rangers. I couldn't ask for any more. Barisic on the left should offer a hell of a lot going forward. So if they do try and copy what St Mirren done by putting like 4 players on Tav, Barisic should get all the space in the world whilst he's still in the rhythm. Because I think when he came on the game was sort of done and became panic stations. But from the start, if they want to treble up on Tav, I think Barisic could have a hell of a game. The Mora. Now, where the defence is at its peak for me, the midfield just isn't quite there yet, as once again Ryan Jack has been officially ruled out, which is a massive blow because I'd have loved to have him in this game of football because he gets it there. Gerrard completely trusts him with every fibre of his being, but it's just too soon yet for Jacko. But it does give an opportunity for your man Scotty Arfield, Stephen Davis and Glenn Kamara to set things right because of what's happened on Wednesday. They'll be properly motivated and that's what I'm expecting to see. Now up top for Rangers, for me it's still a bit of a coin flip because you have Alfredo Morelos serving his last game of suspension, so it's going to go down to Jermaine Defoe or Big Cedric Itten, which I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on, by the way. Or do you mix it up a little bit? Maybe you move Ruth central and maybe bring in Hadji or even Joe Aribo on the right hand side, because I've said it once, I've said it a million times, Aribo shouldn't be in the free midfield. It just doesn't work. It doesn't offer the same protection going back. We saw that on Wednesday, but forward he's gorgeous, and I don't know, it could be a wee change that we see. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be very interesting to see who Gerrard trusts the most in this game, and I think that's what that starting 11 is going to be, the Mora. Who he knows in his heart is his best players. Now, obviously Ryan Jack would be in there, but he's officially ruled out. But the rest of the team will be who's available and who he trusts the absolute most to start this game. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That is the oppositional preview. That is the Rangers conversation. And that is the latest team news. All that's left for me today now is hand the reins over to you guys, because I'd love to know what you're predicting in this game of football. Whilst you guys are going ahead and do that, I will try and put myself once again on the hot seat. But I don't know, maybe I'm being too much of an optimist, but I honestly believe positive thoughts, positive results. I just believe in this Rangers team, and I don't think there's anything wrong with believing in your football team. So I can't see anything else than a Rangers win here, and I honestly think there will be a reaction. So I'm expecting the scoreline to be Rangers 2, Motherwell 0. Not a like 5-6 or anything like that we've put up before versus Motherwell, but controlled, composed, get the game done and get what matters most, and that's the 3 points. My goal scorers of the game is of course going to be your man Tavernier. He's just at a different level to anyone else on the planet right now, and I do think I'm kind of torn between Scotty Arfield and Ryan Kent. I'll go Ryan Arfield. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm officially done and dusted with today's video. If you got involved down there in the comment section below, I will see you very, very shortly to talk about the game. But before we wrap up today's video, from me to thee, thank you for taking time out of your day. Take care of yourselves. All the best and bye-bye.